bring that back. You're a crazy hound. Come on, we've got to do some gardening. Give it back. Thank you. No. Do you want these? Look. What's this? Oh, I give up, guys. She's got one of my gardening gloves, and I don't know if you just saw the last bit of footage, but there was a tiny little snake in this garden bed, so I really do need to have my gardening gloves without a hole in it. Hi everyone, welcome to the February vlog. This one is a cheeky monster, and I really do have to revert to tricking her, to giving me stuff back. It is February. I've had a bit of a busy morning so far. I have been out, I went and got myself some milk because it's finally on special again, so I've really stocked up on that. While I was out, I also decided to do takeaway dinner, I call them. Often we've lived in areas for so long where we have actually not had access to many takeaway takeaway businesses, if any at all, especially when we lived up in Port Douglas. There really wasn't any, and when I lived out in Ayers Rock there wasn't any at all. So we've kind of developed this thing of, for us, a takeaway dinner is grabbing a hot chicken from the local supermarket and a bag of salad, because it's just chuck it all in a bowl and off you go, and it's just as easy as getting a takeaway. So I did that this morning. I got back from the shops, I did all my accounting work. I've been editing videos over the last 2 days, trying to be a little bit more proactive with doing reels, so I've got a few of those all lined up, and just watching where she's going to see what she's going to nick next. She's eyeing off my secateurs, so I'm going to go for a walk up here. Peppa, stop stealing stuff. No, you are a cheeky girl, and it is not yours. So I've been working on those videos. I've got quite a few of them actually, a lot of reels now actually done up. So I should be able to put at least one reel out a week for I think the next 5 weeks. I've done really well at that, and then I'll just have to make sure I keep on recording them. I've also been editing a few big videos to go up onto YouTube as well, but with all that computer work I have got a little bit of a headache coming on just from the brightness of the screen. I do work in dark screen when I'm on it, but I still get that little bit of a headache. I should be wearing glasses, but I can't afford glasses, so I just put up with the headache for a little bit. But I did decide, with this headache coming on, best thing would be to get off the computer and come out into the garden. And I know a few of you have been watching the gardening adventures on the Instagram stories, and quite a number of you have said, can I please put it on a vlog? A lot of the work has already been done. We've had to work hard and fast at doing the gardening. So this is the garden that we have been working on in here. When we moved in, all along here, you can see where it's all sort of soil along here. There were all bromeliads or bromeliads, whatever people want to call them, out to this line, and I've picked them all out, and you can see where the actual original garden bed was. And when you look at the original photos of this house, you can see that there was an absolutely stunning garden through here, and we were so desperate to find it. And not only that, this was full, as I said, with bromeliads, and there was also this creeping vine thing that was going up up all the trees. They'd actually rotted out a few of the trees in here. A lot of just creeping bush plants, like rainforest plants, which I'm actually not a fan of. I prefer to have natives. But the biggest problem was we had Peppa down at the vet with an ear infection, and the vet said it could be something to do with the rashes that she's getting under her arms. You know, our bodies do funny things. When we're not paying attention to one thing, it does another. And he thinks that the ear infection could have been a result of her irritation to the plants that were in this bit of the garden. I'm going to come down this way a bit. And he showed us this list of plants that dogs are known to have allergies to, and there were 4 things on there, and I identified 3 of the 4 things as being in this garden, and it just had to come out and quickly. So because of how quick we were wanting to do it, I couldn't really do the video because, as I've said a number of times, what should take 10 minutes can actually take 20 to 30 minutes when you're trying to video it. So I got in here on one day and I started pulling the stuff all from sort of the front here. And then last weekend, hubby and I got in here. We were pulling, we've still got this bit down here to do, but we were pulling all this. Everyone's told me what the name of it is. People pay a lot of money for this stuff in water, but this was just a thick blanket of it all over the ground, and it was going all up these big trees and everything as well. And hubby and I have just worked to pull it all out. And as we're pulling all these gardens out, we're actually discovering what vision someone actually truly had for this garden, and we can't wait to actually bring it back to life. Like when you come up into it, you can see that there was actually a footpath that goes all the way around here, and it comes back down. So someone had a really good vision for this, but they just let it go completely. But hubby and I have been working really hard to pull it out. As I said, she's in another pile of stuff. Around here, we've still got some of the pulling out things to do here. There's a lot of gingers, that viney stuff. In the back there is actually a native, Australian native mangosteen, and I've got fruit on it. So I can't wait for that to ripen up and give it a try. You can see she's sitting in that pile of debris that we've just put there that couldn't get into the tip the other week. And then we've got this bit up here to do as well. We've got to get all this cleared out right down to my veggie patch down the back so I can actually plant vegetables in there. And then all under here, I'm going to try and plant as many natives or shade loving natives as we can possibly get in here, because there's a lot of wildlife around here. There's a lot of king parrots and rosellas and all those really beautiful native birds, and I want to attract them into the garden. There's lots of butterflies and things like that, and I just want to put more of those sort of plants in that I know is going to attract them into this garden, because at the end of the day, when people are putting stuff in their gardens like this, the birds aren't coming for bromeliads and creeping vines and stuff. They want the nectar off the flowers, and every time we build these new estates, no one's putting the plant life back in for these birds. So wherever we've had houses, I've always tried to fill it up with natives so that the birds and the butterflies and everything have somewhere to come. So that's the kind of plan for in here. We wanted to get it cleared out because we've had a real problem, not only with Peppa and her skin, we've had a problem with cane toads. And since clearing all that out, a lot of the cane toads have gone. There's a lot of mosquitoes and stuff, and since getting rid of all that, we've actually noticed a real drop in the number of mosquitoes around here. The other thing is, as you can see, Peppa loves to forage through all of this, and I don't know if the footage of me clearing out that other garden bed really captured it, but there was a tiny little children's python that came out of the garden bed as I was pulling the weeds. Now, children's python is not, I'm thinking it's a children's python. I'm not very good at identifying a lot of snakes. I know the basic ones. I know it was a python. It could have been a baby green tree snake as well. In fact, that's probably more so what it was. But it came out. It's not dangerous, not venomous. It was small enough that it's not going to hurt me, but it will still actually give it a little bit of a nip if it latches on. But if there's small snakes like that, there's going to be big snakes. And if you were watching the Instagram stories, you would have seen we've got a bird feeder down there, and one night we heard Peppa growling, and we come out and there's this giant, well, I say giant, it was probably about 1.5 to 2 meters long, carpet python. And this is just after we've had our front garden bed cleared out as well, where I'm going to plant lots more natives. And the gardener also said he found a green tree snake in the front yard. So I'm trying to get as much of it cleared out to keep Peppa safe. She doesn't like snakes. She doesn't chase them. She growls at them. She is frightened of them. So that's a really, really good thing. But the more of this sort of stuff we can get out of the garden, the safer it's going to be for her. So that is my mission today, is to start pulling out some more of this garden bed. I am going to leave the beautiful jade there, because that is an old jade when you look at how thick the branches are. But I want to get rid of all of the rest of this. And then I've said to hubby, I'm going to plant fruit trees in here. We're going to put in I want to put in a kaffir lime or a muckrat tree in here, so we can get some more leaves and make some of the face cream I made a few years ago. I want to put in a couple of other fruit trees as well. I already have a lemon tree, but I want to put in a couple of other citrus trees and see what we can get out of this bit. And then clearing all this out will allow us to see the work that we've done down the back. But I'm going to keep getting on with this garden. Hopefully that little snake has moved on a little bit and I won't disturb him too much, and hopefully Peppa will leave my gloves alone and leave my box alone so I can actually do a little bit of this work. She does love it when we're out in the garden, and when we're out here with her, she generally runs around and plays, and then she has a really good night's sleep. So do we. So I'm going to get on with doing that while it's still cool enough to work in this garden. Yep, so you can see this one's been working really, really hard. She's got a favourite ball with her. And look what a difference that has made. It's only taken me about an hour to pull all of that out. It was really, really easy, and because we've had so much rain lately, the ground's nice and soft and it just pulls all the way out. It is such beautiful soil under all of this. It is just, there's so many worms in it. It's really, really nutritious soil. So I reckon some fruit trees and things will do really, really nicely in here. Just need to get some to pop in that little Miss Madam is not going to dig out. But I think I can probably, I'm going to get hubby to take this tree out of here. That's like one of these weedy things that just pops up all over the place. And then I think I should be able to get about 4 fruit trees going across here. So that should be, I'll just have to think about what I want to put in. Here goes little Miss Loon. She's going to have a bit of an attack again. Yep. But it's made such a difference. We were sitting down on the patio the other morning. She's standing on my foot. And we were having breakfast, cup of coffee, and hubby said, it'll be so good once we clean that rockery out so we can see everything that we've done down the back of the garden. And it's just made such a huge difference. Super impressed with how that's come up. So I only actually saw the little snake in here another 2 times after I stopped filming. I'm hoping he's kind of just moved down into the rockery here. When he feels safe, he'll come back out and disappear into another part of the garden. I don't mind the snakes being around because they do protect against, like they eat rats and mice. And part of country living, it doesn't matter where you live, you are going to have rats and mice whether you see them or not. And I can tell you, out in all this bushland here, there is going to be rats and mice, and that's why we've got snakes. They'll be chasing all the rats and the mice that are out there. And I don't mind them all being out in that bit because Peppa doesn't have access to them. And it's not so much that I'm worried about Peppa and being bitten and stuff, is more that I'm worried for the animals, because Miss Peppa, she has this tendency to play with the wildlife. We've been home a couple of times and found her with a water dragon in her mouth. And running around the yard with one of those, and she's never hurt one. There's never been any puncture wounds on them or anything else, but it's the pure shock of it that can actually kill them, not the actual animal picking them up. So I don't want Peppa picking these animals up and running around the yard with them. She also picks the toads up and runs around, and then she just goes hyper from the poison that's on them. It works as an hallucinogenic in the bigger dogs. So I really don't want her playing with any of this wildlife, but I'm quite happy for them to be out in like the big bit of forest next to us. I just don't want them in the backyard. Now, of course, I'm not stupid enough to think that clearing all this out is going to get rid of the snakes, because they are going to be in here, but there's less chance for her to be bouncing around in all this garden bed and coming across the snakes. And there's some big spiders in here. There's some big boys in there. I'm petrified of spiders, and I've got some tales I can tell about encounters with spiders that would make people understand why I am terrified of them. But snakes don't bother me. I have this respect for snakes. They will actually crawl away as soon as they feel that you are coming towards them. They generally try and move away, which is what this little snake was doing. Every time I kind of uncovered him, he didn't come at me, he was trying to get away. And snakes generally do that. Very few of them will attack unless you've cornered them and they feel threatened. Whereas spiders, especially the huntsman here in Australia, the huntsman will chase you. Hubby went to go and get a massive one out the kitchen for me the other day, and it literally ran at him. That's why I hate spiders. I can't do them, but I can do snakes. Snakes I think they're very pretty, snakes are. But anyhow, we're not about gardening here. We're all about soap making and running a business and everything else. I can see my little stack of, I haven't actually taken my green down to the tip. I've just got them stacked in all these containers, and I can see they're gonna topple if I don't go and sort them out. I haven't actually got quite enough in there to do a big tip run, so I'm gonna leave them until next weekend. Next weekend, hubby and I will actually have a day together where we can finish getting into the garden, pulling the rest of it out, and hopefully fill the back of my car and get a good run down to the tip. We actually have to pay for the tip up here, so I get in the back of it and I jump up and down and squash it all down to the point that it's so hard to actually get it back out the car when we get down to empty the green waste. But so we'll do that next weekend, and for now what I'm going to do is go and get cleaned up. Hubby should be home soon. We have got a tree chopper to come in to have a look at one of the trees, because the neighbours have expressed a concern about how much it is leaning over their fence, and that it's got further and further over their fence over the years, and they're willing to go halves with us to take it down. So we've got someone coming in about half an hour to come and have a look at that for us. So I'm going to sign off for today, and we'll be back in the shop we will be in the shop tomorrow, and we'll see what the week brings for us. Okay, it is Tuesday and I am down at the shop. I did mention in the last vlog that for February I was going to trial some new hours. Originally when I opened up, I was doing similar hours to what I did down at Cleveland, what I've always kind of done, and I was doing Wednesday through to Sunday, and I just felt that the Sunday traffic wasn't particularly good, and I wondered if that was because being a tourist town, people tend to come out for breakfast on Sunday and then leave, and they don't tend to shop a lot. So I thought, oh well, I might trial opening up on a Tuesday and see if there's a few more people around. So I did on the 1st of February change my hours. So I was doing Tuesday to Friday 9 till 4, and then I did Saturday 9 till 2. I closed that little bit earlier on the Saturday because a lot of the other shops in the street also shut at 2 o'clock, and I figured they're all shutting for a reason. So I went with that, and it was actually much nicer. When I was doing the 9 till 4 on Saturdays, I'd be sitting here for a couple of hours after 2 o'clock twiddling my thumbs. So it was good to be able to finish early, get home early, and do a little bit of extra work before having my days off. So that Saturday has been working really well to close early. But in all honesty, I don't think having changed my days of working has done anything. The first Tuesday I came in, it actually was quite busy in town. Just getting a basket to put this rubbish in. I'm just undoing some stuff around these. I'll show you those in a bit. The first Tuesday I came in, it was a bit busier in town. I got 1 or 2 sales that day, nothing to really write home about, but you know, it was still a couple of sales, and I thought, oh, maybe this is going to work. The problem was on that first Tuesday that I drove in, I don't know what had gone wrong out in the world out there, but the traffic to get in here, it took me just over an hour to get in. It was absolute chaos with the traffic, and I thought hopefully that's just a one-off. And the first week, I didn't really get any more business at the end of the day. So I thought, well, we'll give it another go. So I did last week. The Tuesday traffic was a bit better, but still pretty chaotic. And that Tuesday I had no customers. And in fact, last week I pretty much went home almost every single day in tears, and it got to the point where, not out of not being interested, but my hubby did stop asking me how the day was, because he knew that it wasn't good and he didn't want to upset me any more than what I was upset. I think last week I made 6 sales in the shop, and it was just like, I don't even know how I'm gonna, I've not made rent this month. Haven't made rent, by the time I finish paying all the little bits, the electricity and all that, the rent's coming out the savings this month, unfortunately. So that's a huge chunk out of there, but it is what it is. It's also a quiet time of year. I am doing the hours again this week, but I've already said to hubby, this is the last week I'm doing them. I'm not going to finish doing these hours for February. I'm going back to what I was doing. And I said the reason being is that if I'm not going to get any extra business, I am not going to sit in an extra day of peak hour traffic up here. I live 35 minutes away from the shop. Saturday and Sundays, it takes me 35 minutes to get in, 35 minutes to get home. On a good day, such as today, it takes about 40 to 45 minutes to get into the shop on peak hour traffic if it's a good day. When it's not a good day, it can take me an hour or more to get in, and I've just said getting the extra 1 or 2 sales on a Tuesday, which I can get on a Sunday, it doesn't pay for the petrol that I'm using on a Tuesday. It doesn't help the stress of driving in peak hour traffic. If anyone caught the vlog that I did when we went to Melbourne, and I said that the traffic in Melbourne was just mind-blowing how people drove down there, I'm pretty sure a majority of the people on the Sunshine Coast have had lessons from Victorian drivers on how to drive. It's scary. Everyone drives faster than the speed limit up here, and if you're not doing over the speed limit, they sit right on the back end of your car trying to push you to go faster. And I have seen some crazy maneuvers on roads up here of people just trying to get round you because you're doing the speed limit and they want to go faster. The way people drive up here is just like, oh my God, I'm an hour and a half away from where we used to live, and the driving's just completely different. And I don't need that stress on a Tuesday morning. I just don't need it. So I have made that decision that this is the last Tuesday I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go back to my normal hours. I just can't justify the traffic and the amount it costs me to come in to do a Tuesday over the few sales that I get on a Sunday. So I'm going to change my hours back, but I think I'm going to stick till 9 till 2 on a Saturday. So to stop the confusion when I change my hours back, I'm going to do Wednesday to Friday 9 till 4, and then Saturday and Sunday I'm going to do 9 till 2. So basically I will do an extra hour on a Sunday compared to what I was doing, but I am doing 2 hours less on a Saturday. So I think that will actually work for me, be less stressful. And then I get 2 days where I'm home a little bit earlier, where I can do some extra work at home, and then actually have Monday, Tuesdays to myself to do things I want to do, rather than constantly working on Patreon, YouTube, and everything else. I love you guys, but sometimes I just need a little bit of time to myself. What have we got today? I have to go and open my door. I've just been taking the stickers and stuff off these little hooks. I was meant to do this on my days off and I forgot to actually take a prop home. I have to make the prop up today, but I have a whole heap more of my car air fresheners which are ready to go onto my board. I needed new hooks to put them up, so I went and grabbed myself some of those last Saturday after finishing work. I've got this one as well, holding life together with a bobby pin. I love that saying. But I've got some of those hooks. We're going to hang those up. I was meant to take photos of them on my days off to get them online, but as I said, I forgot the photo prop that goes with it. So I'll make the photo prop up today and then hopefully get those online this week so that they're all ready to go. There really isn't much to do. As I said, I only had 6 customers last week. There's hardly anything I need to top up. The online orders is what is really keeping me going at the moment. So thank you to everyone who is ordering online. You have no idea how much that is helping. Again, I probably only got about 7 or 8 orders online last week, but they were really, really good orders. They were fantastic orders. So thank you so much to everyone who's been doing that, because that is what's keeping me afloat right now, is the online orders. It's so crazy how things have turned around. That when I was in Cleveland, it was the shop sales that really drove the business, and online was like a little bonus coming in. Whereas now it's the online sales which are keeping me going, and the shop sales are that little bit of bonus. So I'm kind of having to get my head around this, whereas I used to prioritize everything for the shop and then it would filter in onto online. These days I have to focus on the website now, and website gets priority for stock over online. Apart from a couple of things, there are still a couple of things that I just can't get online and stay in the shop only. But like if I've got, like my bars of soap, I make 18. I used to put 9 online, 9 in the shop. I now put 5 in the shop and I put 13 online because they're selling online more than they are in the shop. So it has been a huge turnaround, but I need to go. People are starting to look through my window. I'm going to go and get the door open, get us all set up, and then we'll see where the day goes. I need to go and get these orders picked. I have to stock up the deodorants. I was going to do it last week and didn't, but I am definitely going to do that probably today, so I've actually got something to do. Let me go and get set up, because I've got this woman, I think she's itching to get through the door. Well, that was a good start to the morning. She'd been eyeing off the deodorants in the window and came in and purchased one. She did also apologise for only buying one thing and being the last of the big spenders. And I get a lot of people say that to me. And I always say to them, never apologise for buying from a small business and only buying what you want or need at the time, because every little bit helps us stay in business. So don't ever, ever, ever apologise. And the other thing people always say, sorry, they buy something and as they walk out the door, they see something else and come back and buy another one. Like, oh, sorry, sorry to have to use your machine twice. It's like, don't apologise. You're buying stuff from me. I'm not going to be cross about that. At the end of the day, whether you put it in as 1 transaction or 2, it still actually costs me the same in transaction fees. So don't ever, ever, ever apologise for buying from a small business, no matter how you feel, whether you're buying lots or not. Every little bit helps a small business stay alive. So she was happy. She's gone off. I've just been and picked the 2 orders here, so we're going to get these ones wrapped up. As I said, I am going to have to make the deodorants today, because one of these had a deodorant on it too. She's ordered one. Some of them I've only got like 1 left of each of them, so I need to go and make those today. I also have some soap over there, my Rose Garden soap. I'm going to get that all boxed up, wrapped up and out on the shelf. I have to go and put my laundry away. That was what I was doing yesterday. When that finished, I put it through the dryer, folded it all up, ready to go away. And I'm going to put these car diffusers onto the display as well. So let's get on with doing that. I am so pleased with how this is looking now. I must admit, when I only had the 8 on here, I was very, very aware of how boring the board looked and how easy it was to actually just walk straight by it. And now that I have got it absolutely jam-packed with those car air fresheners on there, it is looking so good. And I have had 3 customers come into the shop today and they have all stopped and looked at the board. So I'm so glad I pulled my finger out and actually finally got all of these kind of packaged up. It's not that I've been putting them off, I've just been doing so many different things and I wasn't really putting the time into doing those. I had them sitting there, I had half of them made up, and then last week I thought, right, just get them all printed up, start getting them together and get them into the shop and get this board filled, because so many people were just walking straight past it. But yeah, a lot of people have now actually stopped. Well, the 3 that came in today, a lot of people have all actually stopped and had a look at the board. So it's definitely done its thing being on there. The next thing I do have to work on is this board here. These are the earrings. And they're so super duper cute. These are all sublimation as well. They're all made by myself. Got sterling silver hooks on them. They are on the website, but I'm also very aware, and a couple of people have actually said it to me, as you're coming up, you don't really see them. So I'm kind of thinking I might get a dark paint to paint the board with, and then hopefully the earrings will then jump off of the board. Otherwise, if I've still got heaps of these to use up, so I can't really do it. It would be a waste. Next time, instead of having a white card, I might do a color on them, but picking a color is going to be hard because I don't want them clashing with the earrings. So I think my best bet is to go and get some paint and paint this board and just get it to really jump out at people. I have just closed the door. I'm about to head home. I've got the parcels to take down. I did put all my soaps away. I've printed up all of the labels to do my deodorants with. I went to make them and once again realised that I didn't have enough of one of the oils down here. It's the same oil that I constantly run out of, and the big carton of it is at home. Like, it's this big carton of oil, so I'm going to have to bring that down to the shop and so that I stop running out of it. And then tomorrow I will get on to making the deodorants. Because that was really the only thing I had to do, I haven't actually wasted my time. One of the things with the deodorants, I don't like the tubes. And it's really, really hard to sell something where you don't like something about them. And I actually don't like the cardboard tubes. I don't like that you have to push them up with your finger and they're difficult to use. But when I tried using some of the plastic wind-up tubes, they were just so temperamental. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I just wasn't confident enough to use the plastic tubes, so I just went ahead with the paper tubes because that was pretty much all we had access to, or I had access to at the time, and I had the intention of finding someone to print on them for me as well, because that's the other thing I don't like, is how the oil gets onto the labels and they just don't look good after a little bit of use. The deodorant is fantastic. I'm getting so many really good reports about it, but in terms of using them, I'm not a fan of them. I've never liked lip balms in those cardboard tubes. I don't like the deodorants in them. So because I couldn't actually make them, I did actually sit on the computer and I started looking for alternative tubes, one that is eco-friendly, because that was the other thing. I didn't want to use the plastic because it is kind of like an eco-friendly thing. So I've been looking for some alternatives and I think I found one. I have sent off a sample request from the manufacturer. It's not going to get here until March, so you might get to see it then. We can have a play with it. And it looks like it still uses the cardboard tubes, but has an outer shell which pushes the cardboard tube. And if it all works, and I'm happy with it, those cardboard tubes that go into this container can be bought separately, so I can actually do refills. So you only have to buy the outer shell once, and then you can buy different refills to go in. We'll see if that works. That's hopefully it does, because it looks like a really good idea. But as I said, I won't get the sample. They reckon it won't be here until the 27th of March. So it's about 5 weeks. That's one of the joys of searching for packaging. But that's what I've spent my afternoon trying to do. I've also got hubby to go and pick up an order for me. I spent some time on the phone to him because the company, it's one of those companies you just have to use because there's nothing else around, but God, they're useless. Really, really useless. It's the company I get all my sublimation printing done, and they're just useless. Every time hubby goes to pick my orders up for me, there's half the order missing and we have to go back and say, no, there should be this, this and this. Oh, hang on. And they'll go and find it and then bring it back. And it's just, oh, they're a nightmare. But they're the only ones in the area. Otherwise, I have to pay a lot more to go and have it shipped to me. Anyhow, so I was talking to him about that. I've also just been doing a bit of Patreon work. I've also been catching up on a few of my podcasts while I've been pottering around and cleaning up. But it is now 4:05. I need to get out of here. I need to get down to the post office to take the orders down there. And then we're having leftover chicken from last night's dinner, and I really feel like a banh mi style roll. So I'm going to stop off at the bakery after I've been to the post office and go and get some crunchy bread rolls and get some, make some coleslaw salady stuff at home to go in it. That's dinner tonight. So let me go and do that. We'll be back in the shop tomorrow and hopefully we'll get these deodorants made. As you saw this morning, I did bring down the extra box of oil from home, so I was able to top up the bottle of oil that I'd run out of, and I got on to making the deodorants. They're relatively quick to make because of the amount of wax and clays that are in them. They do set up quite quickly. The only problem is with how quick they set up, they do develop those little air pocket sinkholes in them. So I do have to, or I actually double pour them just to make sure that there's no big air pockets when people go to use them and then feel ripped off that they're missing a great big chunk of product out the middle because of an air pocket. So I always do them as a double pour, but because they set up so quick, it really doesn't take that long to do them. So they're all sitting over there. I'm really proud of myself. I didn't get too many. Well, in fact, I got no dribbles this time. The last couple of times I've made deodorants, I've ended up with dribbles down the side of the cardboard containers, which is another thing that really bothers me about those cardboard containers, because then you get all those grease marks on them. But this time round, I managed to get some really nice clean pours. So they're looking really, really good. What I'm doing now is I've got these little labels that I was cutting up. These have got the shop address for here in Caloundra, and I am actually just sticking them, let me get the backing off this one, onto these everyday soap boxes that I put my soaps into. I do have an address down here, but that is for the Cleveland shop. So now that the soaps are being made up here, I need to attach the correct address onto the boxes. It is one of the disadvantages about getting packaging and labels printed by somebody else, and it's one of the reasons I put it off for years, is because if you do make any changes, basically boxes can suddenly become obsolete or you can't use them. I figured rather than throwing out heaps of these, I was just going to put stickers on them. Sorry, I was actually watching some people crossing the street thinking they look like they're coming straight at me. And they were. There were a couple of my mum's friends just popping in to say hello. The lady actually gave my mum some fabric to give to me. And I got that from mum a couple of weeks ago, and I just haven't had a chance to make anything with it yet, but I will. But as I was saying, I did put these off for so long because of boxes becoming obsolete when you make any changes, even changes to ingredients. So if a supplier stops stocking an ingredient, it can really play havoc on boxes. This is a relatively small change, just popping a sticker over, and plenty of businesses do it. So I figured that's what I was going to do, so I didn't have to waste all of these boxes, and when it's time to reprint, we'll just get the updated information on them. Anyhow, I've got like 2% left on the battery on here, and it does recommend not to charge and use at the same time. So I am going to carry on doing this, charge the camera up, and I'll probably actually stop and have a little bit of lunch and see if that really helps with easing this dizzy feeling I've got. And then after lunch, I will box up the soaps that go into these. It is an absolutely beautiful morning this morning. It's not too hot. It is going to get warm today. It's meant to be getting up to about 29 degrees, but it is nice this morning. It's quite cool here in the shade, but I can feel that sun's got a bit of oomph behind it. Miss Peppa and I have just had a bit of a run round. We've discovered she doesn't like walks, and I think she doesn't like walks because she either has a harness. I don't like walking her on just her collar, but when she's got the lead on her, she knows that she's not in control and that we're in control of her, and she can't do whatever she wants to do. So she doesn't actually like going for walks. So to make sure that she is getting the exercise, we bring her out into the yard and we just have a really good play, and she just does laps and laps around the yard with her toys while we chase her. She does it at night time as well. When hubby's finished doing the washing up, she sits there barking at him until he comes out and runs around the yard with her, and she absolutely loves it. She never stops. She's dropped a ball. I'm going to see if I can get it. I managed to get it. But she just doesn't stop at all. She which is really exhausting. But she does love being out in this garden. She loves it when we're actually out here doing the gardening as well. She has such an absolute ball with us. Yesterday, hubby did have the day off and he was doing a bit of stuff around the yard. He did do a little bit of weed killing. So he actually did it early in the morning when I was home to keep Peppa in the house, and then kept her in the house for a couple of hours after I'd gone, just waiting for it to dry so then it becomes safe for her. But he did, on his days off, take out the tree that I couldn't get out of here. So this garden bed is now all ready. Just need to get all that debris off the top. I'm going to clean up around the rocks, just make it look a little bit prettier. I'm going down to see my mum and dad on Sunday. I have actually got something to give to them for them to take on their next big trip, which is in early March, and it's going to be the only time I get to go down and see them. So I'm going down to see them, and Mum's got a blood orange tree. Oh, I got it. It's been in a pot, and she said it could really do with being in the ground. So she's going to give me that to bring back up here, and I'm going to plant it into this rockery here. I love blood oranges. I've already got a lemon tree, so I have to think about what other fruit trees that I actually want that are going to grow in the area as well. Now, something that I know a few people have asked me about, and I've not really touched upon for so long, is my vanilla orchid. It did come up here with us. And it's had a pretty rough life. Let me see if I can go through into the area where we have now actually put it. It's in an area where Peppa's not allowed. When we first moved in here, I had a vision of putting it near the front door, but it didn't like it there. And then we were trying to find another place to actually put this vanilla orchid. It didn't like it, and I don't really blame it. It didn't really like it when I took it off the wall in the old house and put it onto a trellis. You know, that was a pretty big shock to be taken off something that you've been growing on for years. And it did start to look a little bit sad, and then it started to come back, and we were trying so hard to find somewhere to actually put it up here, just trying to get the sun out my face. We just try so hard. And originally I had it against the side wall of the house over there, and it didn't look particularly happy. I'd lost a lot of leaves off it, and I actually had my really big vanilla orchid in it, and then I had a couple of small ones in there as well. And it got peppified. It really got peppified. She ended up getting the smaller plants out and took them for a tour of the garden, and I managed to retrieve them. She destroyed them a little bit, but there was still enough on them. I just thought, I'll stick them in a pot and see what happens. And what I did, so I stuck them into this little pot here, and I just stuck them out the back here. I was so annoyed with Peppa. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just chucked it out the back here, thought she can't get to it. And it was only about this high when I put it in here. And then about a month later, I was out the back here, and it's like, oh my goodness, this has really taken off. Like, we've got all new roots, we've got new shoots. Like it's throwing off new bits of the plant all over the place. Now, the thing is with my vanilla orchid, my really big one, I actually got from Bunnings, and it's always done so well. And then every other vanilla orchid I've had from this place in the Redlands called Fame Nursery, which is all about orchids. That's all they sell in there. All the vanilla orchids I've had from them have never done particularly well. And those two that are in that pot are actually Fame vanilla orchids. And they're doing really well. So I decided, right, well, I'm going to stick the big vanilla orchid out here. Bearing in mind, Peppa had bitten off the bottom roots that were in the big pot, so it was just literally this long vine. I hadn't really got too cross about it because of the way it grows, it throws lots of roots out all over the place, so it doesn't actually need to be rooted in a pot. As long as it's got aerial roots, it's going to survive. But she had eaten all the roots from out of the pot, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick it out the back here, hope for the best. It's looking really sick. If I lose it, I lose it, but hopefully it will like it out here. Now it is at this point looking pretty miserable, but it's actually looking much better than it did about a month ago. About a month ago, all these leaves on here had this really greyish tinge to them, and the ones that were still on here were like these dead leaves. There's another one in here. All the original leaves kind of fell off. All of the roots had gone like this, and I'm thinking I'm going to lose this. And I thought, you know what, let's just stick it on here, see what it does. And look, it has thrown off all these beautiful long roots. There's another one just behind here. So all of these dead roots, they're just not doing anything, but there's another one under here. I've just noticed it has thrown off so many new roots. And then down here in this pot, I don't think that's going to survive, but I had the bits that she'd kind of chewed off. They were literally like just a piece of root or a piece of vine like that, and they've thrown off new bits of plants. So it obviously really, really likes it in here. It's going to probably take a couple more years before I get any more flowers come off it, so it'll be probably another 5 years before I get any more vanilla off it, but it's definitely looking much happier. And this one just simply can't get to it. But this sort of area, this is on the other side of that fence where Peppa can't get to. It's very tropical rainforest in here. We're trying to do a bit of gardening. We've got some naughty plants in here which we're trying to get pulled out before we get into trouble, but we're slowly getting it all clear. But because of the rainforest sort of atmosphere, I think that is why the orchid's doing so well in here, so really pleased with that. You can actually see this is where I've put all the plants that Peppa has decided that she is going to peppify. She almost destroyed all of my orchids, and the big white one is actually my mother-in-law's orchid, and then all these little pots are ones that my dad gave us an orchid when we moved into the house when we originally moved down to Brisbane. And it's now actually been split into all these other pots because it's grown so big. But Peppa decided to peppify them, so now they live out here and I don't get to enjoy them as much. She's just found a plastic pot plant to destroy. Now that she's had a bit of a run round in the yard, I'm actually going to head back into the house. I need to have a little bit of breakfast. Might start editing a little bit of the video and then head down to the shop. I might have to brush my hair again after that big run round with Peppa. Alright, so after whinging this week about the state of the traffic around here, today's trip in has been really, really good. It only actually took me 40 minutes to get in, as opposed to the hour that it has been taking me to get in here. So got really, really lucky. I just happened to get to traffic lights when they were turning green. A lot of the bottleneck areas weren't as bad today as what they usually are. So it was a really, really nice trip in, not stressful. Anyone would think that with how much I whinge about the traffic that I hate driving. I actually don't. I love to drive. I love driving big distances. Hubby usually does most of the driving because he really, really likes to drive. But when I can, I actually do like to go for a bit of a drive in places. I just don't like driving in peak hour traffic. It's that unknown of what other people are doing around me. It's the same as I've talked about before when I'm in really crowded areas like in the city and stuff like that. It's that unknown of what other people are doing. And these days, so many people are looking at their phones. I've seen people eating their breakfast in the cars, doing their makeup, reading books and all this other stuff, everything but actually driving cars. And it's that knowing that people are not paying attention, which gets my anxiety going in peak hour traffic, thinking someone's going to hit my car, someone's going to hit my car. And I know it's a car, it can be replaced, but if they're not paying attention, it can be just more than the car that's actually damaged. So I don't like driving peak hour traffic, but outside of peak hour traffic, I love to drive places. I find it quite relaxing, just putting the music on and, seeing what's around. So it's not that, it's just, it's that peak hour traffic that gets that anxiety going. But today's trip in was just so smooth. Everyone was paying attention. There were already a couple of people trying to go faster than what they should be going, but it was actually quite a relaxing trip in. After I finished playing with Peppa in the yard, I did go and edit the video footage. So I tend to do yesterday's footage the next morning, so I know what I've done. If I've said something and didn't really expand upon it, I can let you know a little bit more. So I did that this morning, and then came down here. I did contemplate stopping at Bunnings to go and pick up a little pot of paint to paint my earring rack. But the problem with doing that is to go past Bunnings. It actually is a shorter way to get into the shop, like less kilometers to get in to go past Bunnings, but it's also a much busier way, so it actually takes longer to come that way in the mornings. So I just thought, no, can't do it. I'm just gonna go my normal way, and maybe on Saturday morning, which is when I do drive past Bunnings, I might stop off and go and pick up a pot of sample paint to paint that board then. So I'll just have to find something else to do today. I did say, I noticed in the vlog that I'd been feeling dizzy and didn't really, I thought I'd said something about it earlier in the day, but I obviously didn't. Just before coming out to work yesterday, I started to feel really queasy, really lightheaded, had the jelly legs going. Usually it's because of, with the insulin resistance that I have, I get the sugar highs and sugar lows. And after being in the shop for a little while, I kind of thought, oh, I know what's wrong. And I did go and find something a little bit sugary to eat, and that made me feel a little bit better. So it obviously dropped just a little bit too low. I don't have diabetes, it's just the insulin resistance, and it produces or doesn't produce insulin when it should. So I had been feeling a bit queasy yesterday, which then makes me really tired as well when I get like that. So I did actually close the shop up 10 minutes early. There were no cars out in the street. It was a bad day yesterday. The only people I had come in were my mum's friends. Otherwise, I didn't see anyone. In fact, I don't even really remember anyone walking past the shop either. It was so quiet, and I was watching the op shop. They had hardly anyone in, and there was always plenty of spaces to park in the streets. It was a very, very, very quiet day yesterday. I don't usually close up early, and I never used to shop early at markets either unless we were told to, because you tend to find the people that walk in at the very last moment and realise that you're trying to close up will suddenly grab things and then actually buy more than what they were intending to buy. So you can usually get some really good sales in those last minutes, and you never know what you're going to miss out on if you shut up early. But yesterday I was starting to feel quite I was really, really tired. I thought if I don't go now, it's going to be bad for driving home. And I was starting to feel a little bit queasy again. So I thought, just going to shut the doors 10 minutes and go home. And then the op shop came out and they were closing up as well. So obviously a bad day for them too. But I can actually see they've got people queued out the front of their door waiting to get in this morning. So hopefully that's a good sign. We'll have a few more people. What I'm going to do today, we're going to pop the lids onto the deodorant tubes, label them up, and that's it. This is going to be a boring vlog, isn't it? It's more about the home life than it is down at the shop here. But that is pretty much it. I do want to have a bit of a think about some of the ways I want to change my displays. So I might sit down and have a bit of a planning of that. But other than doing the deodorants today, there really isn't anything I need to do. So if I can film something, I will. If not, we'll see. Anyway, I've got to go get that door open. It's 9 o'clock now. I need to get up and move. I've been sitting at the computer for the last couple of hours. I am cold, so I've got my cardigan on, but I need the air conditioning on. If I turn the air conditioning off, it gets hot in here, which puts people off. I've only got the air conditioner set to, I think it's 25, and I'm still cold. So I'm starting to get really stiff from sitting there. I've been working on some Patreon stuff and a couple of other bits and pieces. It must have been about an hour ago, the postman came in through the door, and I'm thinking, oh God, he's lost, because he's got something in his hand. He's looking down and around, then he's walked in. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to ask me where something is, and I really just don't know these days where anything is. And he said, no, this is for you. And it's like, oh. And he said, oh, you've forgotten what you've ordered. It's like, no, because everything I order goes home, and I've been sent a parcel, so I'm going to open it up. I'm feeling pretty bad because I recognise the name that's on the side here. I actually need to save it because the phone number's here, and I've been trying to find where I know you from, whether it's through Facebook, Patreon, Instagram. I can't find it, but luckily this parcel has come from Anne, and she's popped her phone number on the side, so I will actually get to text her as well. Let's have a look and see what is in here. It's in an iHerb box. I don't know. Really curious. Let's get this opened up. Oh, there's a message in here. Let me read it, and then I'll actually know who. Oh, there's a big message in here, so then I actually know, oh wow, who I'm talking to. Give me a second. So that is a lovely message that I've got from Anne. She runs AJ's Nature's Best. She says she has followed me for quite a while, and she predominantly makes soaps using natural colours and essential oils because she can't use fragrances. And she has included a couple in here. She's also included some photos of soaps that she has made in the past, so I can see what different colours and things are. And she's also included a couple. She's ever so good. I'm not going to get too close because I don't want to give away her secrets, but she's included some of her plans for how she's created some of the soaps and what colours that she's used and things like that. It's absolutely amazing what she has got here. Much more disciplined than what I am. She does say though that unfortunately, because of how tough times have been, she's really not sold many of her soaps, which is a shame because they're absolutely gorgeous, these ones. So she hasn't actually really made any since May of last year because she's got more than enough for her and her family, but she has included some in this box, so I'm going to get them open, then hopefully I can show you some of what I'm seeing in these photos. So let me get this one unwrapped. They're also carefully wrapped in here, and then, oh wow, oh, I can smell the essential oils in there. They smell absolutely beautiful, and oh my goodness, I've not even got it unwrapped, and I can already feel through here that this is going to be an, oh my goodness, an absolutely stunning bar. This is called Reader's Corner, which she does actually refer to, wow, in her notes. That is the top there, so we've got some lovely little books, but look at that little bookshelf on the front. How absolutely gorgeous is that? Oh, absolutely stunning. And the colours. And she says she makes all the soap dough and uses natural colours all through the soap dough as well. So it gives me hope that I've been experimenting with natural colours, and I actually do have a couple of videos to come out where I've been doing some colour infusions without much success, but it actually is giving me hope that I might be able to work with these colours. These are just, oh wow, absolutely beautiful. This one's called Lemon Twist. Look at all those on the top. How stunning is that? And it smells really nice as well. So absolutely gorgeous. And I love I wonder if she's done that with a pull through. I'll see if I can just slip the ribbon up a little bit. It looks like, when you look at it, it's almost like she's used a pull through tool in here, and you can see the cut of the lemon through the soap, the level of colour in these. Does she actually say, this one's got saffron powder in and moringa leaf powder. I actually used some of that the other day, so that must be the green that's in the leaves. And there's some spirulina. Oh, they're absolutely stunning. Sorry, I'm absolutely amazed at this work. How is it that she's not been selling any of these? Absolutely beautiful. Oh, this is called Barrier Reef Turtle Hatching. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get the ribbon off this one. Look. Isn't that just absolutely adorable? Oh my goodness. One of the things that I actually really remember when I was a child was when we went on a holiday to a place called Mon Repos, which is a little bit up the coast from where we are now, and we actually went and watched some of the turtle hatchings. And I remember all these little turtles running down the beach. We weren't having much success in finding a hatching, and we'd been walking along the beach and they got us all to stop in this one place, and there was actually a nest that they didn't realise was there, and all of a sudden a group of us was standing really, really close to this nest, and I was kind of almost on the edge of it, and all of a sudden all these little turtles started running over our feet, and that's just what this has given me memories of. That is absolutely adorable. I absolutely love that. Oh gosh, there's another 3 in here. I can't believe the level of work. Is this the other one? No, this isn't the other one that she's made mention. This is actually, let me double check. Yeah, this is one of the diagrams that she's included in there. So she's actually included a diagram which shows me exactly what colours she's used where within this. But look at those little apples, and oh wow, that is absolutely amazing. And I can't believe that these are just not selling. And if you are watching this, please leave comments down below to say where people can actually get in contact with you, because honestly, they really should actually be checking these out. Oh, I can't get the ribbon off that one. Oh, there's bits on the side. I'm going to have to pull the label off and get the ribbon off of here as well. Let me undo the bow so we can tie it back on later. But this is it does actually say on the back what Stormy Seas, this one is called. That one is absolutely gorgeous, and look at the little shells and the little lightning strikes and everything on there. And we've got some other bits and pieces. What have we got in this one? Mediterranean caramel clay. We've got Australian white clay, glacial marine clay. There's activated charcoal, indigo. That must be indigo all through here, which I have real difficulties using. So it is possible to use indigo. Oh, there is so much French green clay. There is all sorts in here. Oh, a really beautiful smell on it as well. And then we've got one more in here too. This has really made my day, and it's been really trying to be sitting here and just having people walk through the shop saying thank you and walking back out the door without buying anything. This isn't just a one-off. This has been a pretty much daily occurrence for the last few weeks, and it's really trying at the moment. So to see all this, you have absolutely no idea how much joy this has really brought to me. The fact that someone has sent this to me. These are just absolutely beautiful. This is the other one that I think is in the diagrams. Yes, it is. And this one is Aussie Bushland. Look at the little koala. Don't focus on me, focus on the soap. It is absolutely stunning. And again, she's got that diagram in there which will show me exactly what colours and things that she's used in here. That is absolutely beautiful. I am feeling so spoiled right now, and just so absolutely amazed by the level of work that have gone into all of these soaps. And you've also given me that sort of hope that I can eventually get natural colours to work for me in soap as well. They are absolutely amazing, and I really just can't believe it. I'm so lost for words on how to actually describe them. They are absolutely stunning. All right, so I've just actually wrapped all those back up, popped them in the box so I can actually take those home with me. I'm going to go and send Anne a message to say thank you so much for them. Honestly, you have no idea how much that has really brightened up my day today. Very, very much appreciated. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. It is just gone 3 o'clock. It is gone really quiet out there. There are lots of car parking spaces available out the front of the shop, which is never a good sign. And the street seems to have gone really quiet again as well. So I don't think there's going to be much happening for the rest of the day. As I said, I have had 5 people come into the shop. They've all done the roundabout tour and gone back out through the door. So I think what I have to do, I have to acknowledge it is a lot to do with the fact that people don't have money to spend. We are all doing it really, really tough at the moment. I'm seeing people coming in and out of the op shop from across the road. People are doing it really, really tough. They're looking for cheap and that sort of thing. So that is one thing, but I also have to acknowledge the fact that there is something wrong with my display. It worked for me in Cleveland. This display that I've got here was the similar sort of display as what I had in Cleveland, except for here the shelves are I've got more shelving and they're lower down because the floor space I have is bigger. So there actually is more shelving for the display, but clearly the way I've got it displayed is not working. So I have to really, really think about that. What I'm going to do is go and jump onto IKEA. I'm going to order some slightly taller shelving. And my kind of idea is these 2 blocks of shelving here, I want to extend this. So this is the shortest height stand, and then the candles are on the tallest. And then there's another one that's kind of in between, and that's the size that I had in the shop in Cleveland. And I think I want to change these 2 here to the slightly taller shelving and then put a bit more of a gap between my shelves. Last week, hubby took some extra days off and we went up to Mullaney and Montville, and I said to him the whole purpose of going up there was that I just wanted to have a look at all the different shops, how they displayed their stock, what sort of window displays and that sort of thing. And I said to him, the one thing that really kept jumping out at me at every single shop that we went into was the depth of the shelves. I said, when you look at the depths of my shelves, some of them are only just tall enough to get the product in and for me to get my hand in to slide things in and out. And when you stand in front and you look down at them, you can't actually see under some of the shelves, so people can't really see what the stock is. And I said, I think that is one of the biggest problems, is that I chose to have the lower shelving for a safety aspect because I didn't have a wall to anchor them onto, but I think it's actually done me a lot more damage than good. So I think what I need to do is go and get these taller shelves so then I can actually put more of a gap between the product shelving and people can see into them, and then I can actually do a couple of other display ideas and see if that really helps to get people to stop and look and have a bit of a mooch. I'm the sort of person that loves to mooch around in shops, and if it's got a really interesting display, then I'll have a bit more of a mooch. And I do think, even though this display worked for me down in Cleveland, it is not working for me up here. So I really need to get that changed, and hopefully that will start helping a little bit. We'll see. So I think for the rest of the afternoon, what I might do is go and jump back on the computer, go and have a look at IKEA, see, get those bits ordered. I'll do it as a click and collect. So when I come back from my parents on Sunday I'll come back about lunchtime, I'll stop off at IKEA on my way through, pick those up, before heading the rest of the way home. So I think that might be a little bit of a plan of action. And the other thing I'm going to do this afternoon, which is something I've not done for a good many years because I actually got a bit cranky with it. I actually might jump onto Pinterest. I got cranky with Pinterest years ago because I went to go and get some of my pins off there and discovered that they had disappeared because people had moved the URLs or closed websites and stuff like that. It was like, well, what's the point in using this if I'm going to lose the information? So I stopped using Pinterest. But I actually might go and jump on there now and create a bit of a mood inspiration board of different shop design ideas, and see if I can start coming up with a few inspirational ideas of what I can do with my display to really capture people's eye. And I also want to try and create myself a little decal sticker to go in my window about pampering and that sort of thing. So just to really tell people what I'm all about in here. So yeah, that might be the rest of the day, and then I'll be heading home and we'll be back in tomorrow and we'll see if I can find anything to do tomorrow. Good morning, guys. That is the second trip I've just done up from the car. I'm in quite early, so the bad thing is my air conditioner hasn't kicked on in the shop. I've actually worked out how to use the timer in the shop, so now I've actually got it set in the system to come on about 15 minutes before I arrive to the shop, so it's nice and cool in here, and to turn off 5 minutes before I leave. And since I have done that, I have not had a problem with leaving my air conditioner on for days when I'm not in the shop, because even though I'm actually ended up, if you've seen any of the previous vlogs where I have left my air conditioner on, I did make up signs to tell me turn the aircon off, and I still did it. And one day I did it when I actually wasn't in the shop for 3 days. So that was a whole 3 days the air conditioner was on, and my electricity bill that came in, it was like, oh my God, I really need to try and do something. So I sat there fiddling around with it until I worked out how to put the timer on, but it's still another 5 minutes before it actually comes on. So it's a little bit warm in here, but that's all right. I have just done 2 trips up from the car. I have bought tons of stuff up. And the other thing I did this morning, I put my big girl pants on and I went to Bunnings and I picked up, just one of the things I picked up was a pot of tester paint. I couldn't decide on which grey I wanted. I couldn't find the original grey that I had in the Cleveland shop. I really wanted that because it kind of works with my branding. Couldn't find it, so I went for something called Viking grey. Let's get the lid off. And there it is. So I decided to go with this Viking grey to paint the board that the earrings are sitting on. I also picked up a little bit of sandpaper so we can sand it first, and then some paintbrushes. So I'm going to say if it's quiet, it will be quiet. I'll be able to paint that while I haven't got anyone in the shop. I also picked up a couple of other things, including some pieces of dowel and some command hooks. So one of the things I've been thinking about doing in the shop window, one of my, the 2 ultimate goals I would have for a shop is, one, I actually want a water testing station, which I just can't get in this shop. The cost of actually bringing the water from the back to the front with all the drainage and everything, at the moment, the costs don't warrant it. I'm not getting enough people through the shop to actually warrant doing that, because I'd have to undo it all as well. So I've given away that little bit of a dream. But the other dream I've had is to have a really nice bathtub out the front. And I wanted like a little metal bathtub thing. And it's taken me a long time to find one. But I did actually eventually find one in TK Maxx, which I think I paid about $17 for it, which is really good price when you sit and look at the how much a lot of these metal tubs do cost. And I grabbed it, and when I first moved into this shop and I was trying to think about, window displays, one of the things I did see someone do with one of the really big bathtubs is they filled it up with ball pit balls, and I thought that is such an awesome idea. It took me forever to find the right colours because, of course, kids want their ball pit balls to be bright colours, and bubbles are not bright colours. They are this sort of colour. And it took me forever to find these colour ball pit balls. And I actually did find them last year, and they've just kind of been sitting around the house, just not doing anything, waiting for me to do something with them. I did fill the little pot for Halloween. Actually, was the first time I used them. I had a Halloween container that I stuck in the window with these balls in them, and now I've had one bag of them sitting out the back of the shop doing nothing, and one bag of them sitting at home. So I have filled the little bathtub up that I've popped in my window. The day that I popped it into the window, so many people then came into the shop after I put it in there. So it was a bit of an eye catcher. But the other thing I wanted to do was make some strings of bubbles like this and hang them in the window, just to give the window a little bit more interest. So last night, I really didn't feel like doing anything else, sitting at the computer or doing any of my sewing. I just felt like sitting on the sofa and doing not much. But there's really nothing on telly either on a Thursday night. So I went and grabbed the big bag of ball pit balls, and I started threading them all together. And my sort of idea is what I was originally going to do was put lots of little hooks across the top of the window and then hang them off the hooks. But the ceilings in here are too tall, and I have tried hanging things off the top of the window before, and it is a huge stretch for me. It is almost dangerous for me to do it. So what I decided I would do instead is pop a couple of bigger hooks up on the wall and then put some pieces of dowel, and then I can hang the bubbles across here. And then that means that when it comes to Christmas, if I want to hang any Christmas ornaments up, I can actually take these down, hang my Christmas ones and put them back up. So I thought that actually might be a better option anyway. So I got those this morning from Bunnings. Traffic getting across the motorway was horrendous this morning. It was really built up. It was about twice as long as what it usually is. But I came through the back of the race course like I usually do. Missed that. Came down to Bunnings and I'm thinking, now I've got to get across the rest of this traffic that is usually really heavy. And it was actually surprisingly good. It did take me, I think, about 5 minutes to get through this little bit of road that if there's no traffic usually only takes like 1 minute 30 sort of thing, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm glad I stopped off at Bunnings and got all of that stuff. So that gives me something to do today. Hopefully I can reach to get these hooks up so I can put these up today. If not, hubby said he will come down on our days off and he'll help me get them up there. If I didn't have the displays in front of the window, I probably could reach, but having the displays there and having to reach over them, that's what causes the problem. I'm going to go and put this bit away, and then I'm going to show you what I got in my deliveries, because I've still got 15 minutes until I need to open the door. All right, so now that I've got all of that put away, I'm going to unpack these orders that I received. I am a little bit worried about this order, which sounds really funny. Titanium dioxide. I have always had my titanium dioxide from off of Heirloom. I usually get the one that is both oil and water soluble. Yeah, oil and water soluble. She does one that is both, one that's oil and one that's water. And I've always gone for the one that is both because it gives me options. And I've always ordered it from her. It's always been a really good price. I usually chuck it in with another, or I get a kilo at a time, that sort of thing. Usually chuck it in with other things in the order. Now, I knew I was getting low on the titanium dioxide, but I haven't needed to order or wanted to order anything from off of Heirloom for a while. Since moving up here to the Sunshine Coast, the difference in postage just from her alone, that not other companies, some companies changed and a lot of others didn't, but the change in postage that I had to pay to Heirloom was crazy, absolutely crazy. It was a good $10 more than what I'd been paying down at the Sunshine Coast and down at the Redlands. And I said to hubby, I'm sure she's charging me, or I'm getting passed on the toll bridge fee for this, because that's about how much it is for the toll to come over and back again. I said, this is just crazy. So I haven't actually been ordering a lot from off of Heirloom. And I knew I was running really low on my titanium dioxide, and because there was nothing I needed, I just didn't order it. And last week I actually used the very last of my titanium dioxide, and it was like I need to order it. Like, there's just no way about it. I have to order it, and there's nothing else I actually need. So I thought, I'm just going to have to pay postage for one thing. Usually I'll order 5 or 6 things and spread the cost of the postage across stuff. So I jumped onto Heirloom to go and order this titanium dioxide. I put it into the cart, went to check out, and for 1 kilo of titanium dioxide, the postage was $20.06. And it was like, what? Considering when Heirloom pack and send stuff, it usually comes in Ziploc bags. So I've had it before and it's fairly flat. I knew that a kilo of titanium dioxide should be able to go into a small rate shipping satchel. You can put it in a box and inside the satchel to keep it safe. I knew that if I was just Joe Bloggs walking down into the post office, that would only cost me $10.95 to ship. There was no way I was going to pay $20 to get something shipped that should only cost $10. And then when you're a business, you get those business discounts. So she would have been paying a lot less than that. And I thought, all right, well, I'll go and chuck a couple of extra things in the cart, stuff that I don't necessarily need, but don't have an expiry date, so it, you know, it doesn't hurt to have a backup on the shelf. And I put a couple of extra, really quite lightweight things in, and the costs just kept going up and up and up. I'm thinking, no, I'm not paying $20 to get a kilo of titanium dioxide. So I started having a look around. A lot of other places do cost more for the titanium dioxide, but I did then go and jump onto Australian wholesale oils, and their titanium dioxide, I think per kilo, was about the same price, but I've also got a business discount with them. So it was actually cheaper for the 1 kilo of titanium dioxide through them. And I thought, all right, let's see how much shipping is. So I put just that into the cart, calculated shipping, and it came up at $13.50. And I thought, well, they've got my business, so I'll order them. And I did also notice that they had another thing on their website. Oh, actually, it looks really nice. That's it looks really, really nice, that titanium dioxide. It's nice and bright in colour, so hopefully it will be better. The reason I'm worried about it is because I've used Heirlooms for so long. I know it works. It gives me great results. Very rarely do I get glycerin rivers and things like that. So, you know, why fix something that's not broken? But the postage was broken. So we have made that change. And I'm just hoping that this titanium dioxide works just as well. I do have a New Directions order here, and I could have thrown some titanium dioxide in with that order, but I don't like New Directions titanium dioxide. It's too yellow in colour, or too creamy in colour when it comes out. So I thought we'll give AWOs a go. But the thing was, they had another product that was on sale that I've been wanting to try for ages, and that is this combo butter. I've been wanting to have a go at it for ages. It was on sale. I thought, all right, let's just chuck in a ½ kilo pot and see what that does to postage. So I threw in a ½ kilo of this butter, which comes in a really nice container. Postage, $13.50. So a kilo and a half of stuff, and I'm still paying less in postage than I was with Heirloom. And the really, really annoying thing for me, let's get this open. Ooh, it's in a bag. Ooh, it doesn't look very, nice, and it's got a rather, unique smell. But this is meant to be really, really good for the skin. So I've been wanting to try it ever since I first found out about it. So, it's got a really unique, nutty aroma. Oh, definitely can't wait to try and formulate something with that. But as I was saying, the really, really annoying thing about it is I did also put this order in with New Directions. And in this box, like it came in two boxes, this box here is a big 5 kilo tub of shea butter. And then in this box here, I have got, let's get it open. I actually did open this one at home because I wanted to smell something. I have a 500 ml of natural vitamin E, so it's almost half a kilo. I have a 1 kilo bottle of polysorbate 20. I have a half a kilo of chamomile extract. I have this beautiful, beautiful essential oil that they've just released. I think it's Ravintsara. I don't know how you really pronounce it. It's relatively, oh, look, poison. It's relatively new on their website, and they were promoting it this week, and oh, it smells so good. It's got a eucalyptus smell, but it's a little bit sweeter, not as punch you in the face sort of thing. It's a little bit sweeter, a little bit mintier, and it really clears the sinuses. This is a really nice essential oil. So I've got 100 ml of that, and there's also 100 ml of clove bud oil here. So we've got over 7 kilos worth of product here. Do you know how much postage I paid with New Directions for 7 kilos? $23.06. I can't justify ordering from off of Heirloom anymore if she's charging me that much postage for something. I will not support businesses that profiteer off postage. I don't mind paying, you know, $1 or $2 more than what the postage would be if you walked into the post office to post something, because you've got to take into account that you've got nice boxes that they get shipped in, the shipping materials and that, all that sort of stuff. But Heirloom doesn't buy in their shipping boxes. They use boxes from the bottle shop next door sort of thing. The amount of parcels I've had in Jim Beam boxes and beer boxes and stuff like that, which honestly, if you're sending to someone who's part of the AA group, you don't want to be sending alcohol boxes to people that are in that group. That's just really rude. So I'm kind of over Heirloom now. I honestly think that she was charging me double what it should have been, and I can't support a business that profits off postage anymore. So I think I'll be moving a lot of my business. She does have a couple of items that I can't get anywhere else, so I will have to order them from her, but I'll just make sure that I order in bulk, so I only have to place an order once a year, maybe twice a year. But I'm sorry, I just can't support her anymore. But I can tell you, I have actually started using Australian wholesale oils a lot more, and I am loving their products. They always come out really nice and fresh. They've got really nice long shelf lives on them, beautifully packaged as well. So if you're here in Australia, go and check out the Australian wholesale oils, because they're pretty good with everything that they send out, and their postage costs are fantastic as well. Anyhow, enough whinging. It's 9 o'clock. Need to put this away. Need to get that door open, and then see if I can get these bubble balls up in my window. So super pleased with how that has come together. I know some people are going to think it looks cheap and tacky, but for me, it's actually added some interest into the window from outside. You can see them there. They're not like, if you had put really colourful balls in there, that would have really stood out, but it kind of adds that bit of interest that people might get curious about what's there from across the street. I do have this really ridiculous desire to go and get some little yellow duckies and string them up in between the bubbles which will look cheap and tacky, so I won't do that. But I am actually thinking I'm going to see if I can get a fairly big rubber ducky and put down by the bathtub on the floor, and see how that goes. But I'm also kind of thinking I can maybe put some little greenery drapes in between. I don't know. It's starting to come together as a window front to just add that bit of interest. Because the ceilings are so high, it does kind of put this big void over the top. I think one of my sort of concerns with putting higher shelving is blocking that natural light that comes in here. But I think I really do need to do that just to add that interest into the window. And I was originally going to do, as I said, the shelf that's on this end and the one in the middle. But on my drive in today, I actually thought it might make more sense to do the two end ones, to have them up and then come down. Originally, I wasn't going to do the end one because of the lip balm rack, but I might end up just moving things around a little bit, just trying to change it up, get more people seeing stuff. It's all trial and error, but I am so pleased with how they have come up in the window, and hopefully it will catch people's eyes. They have gone up pretty well. I'm just watching one of the dowels. It's got a little bit of a bow. I went for the 9mm. I was going to get a thinner one, which was cheaper, and I thought, no, it will bow. So I went with the 9mm, but I can see one of them does have a bow, and I think it might be a natural bow in the wood. If it bows too much, I'll end up going to get the 12mm dowel instead, because that should be thick enough not to dip down. But they're not particularly heavy, so they shouldn't, unless I hang some little rubber duckies off them. The other thing, while I was actually popping it up, I thought one thing you do see a lot of the bigger stores doing is stringing together some of their packaging. So I thought maybe in between I could like get some of my shampoo boxes and do like a string of those, and in between another one, a string of soap boxes. Yeah, just lots of different things like that. Like the mind is really now starting to whirl around with the things I could do. So doing that has given me a bit of inspiration. I do have another 11 of these out the back. So I'm going to take these home, and I'm actually going to make another string. So my strings, they range between having, I think there's 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, between having 10 balls on them up to about 14, 15 balls on. So they're all different sort of lengths. So this will give me another length here. And what I'm thinking is in my middle window, I'm going to put 4 strings, and the outer ones will have 3 strings going down them. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask me where I've got them from. As I said, it was really, really hard to find those clear and pearly coloured ball pit balls. The place that I originally got them from does not stock that colour anymore. I got them on sale. She must have been clearing them out, but I'm pretty sure if you look for clear ball pit balls, lots of options will come up. I've seen them on Amazon and all those sort of things. So just go and have a look for them if you want to do something similar. I may even order another lot if I can find them at a good price from another place, because I'm really, really happy with how it's come up. So yes, I've got all those balls in there to take home. Now, before I forget, I did actually message Anne yesterday after I turned off the camera to say thank you so much for the soaps that she sent me. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any social media. She doesn't do markets and doesn't have a website or anything like that. She has contemplated doing Etsy, but too many other things in life that she wants to do, so hasn't got round to doing that, which is a real shame. She's in a place up near Gympie, which is just over an hour's drive from where I am here. And she sells in lots of little shops in the local area, like in Tinkham Bay and that sort of place. But unfortunately, because things are so tight, these shops aren't selling and aren't ordering from her. But she has said that she has contemplated selling in other ways. And I've said if she does, to please get in contact with me so I can add her details into the video. But as it is right now, there is no way of contacting her, which is really, really sad. I said to hubby last night, he was absolutely amazed by the soaps. He really, really appreciates artwork. And I said to him, what absolutely amazes me about them is that she is the first person I've come across, or who, you know, has introduced themselves to me, that uses all natural colours and essential oils, but makes decorative soaps. Most people who use natural colours and essential oils, from what I've seen, make nice but plain bars of soap, not with the high, not with soap dough and piping and all that sort of thing. So it was just so different to see someone who is using those natural colours and getting those beautiful decorative soaps as well, and the level of detail. Hubby really liked them as well. So yeah, unfortunately I can't leave you any details, which I'm sad about. Anyhow, now that that's all done, I think I'm going to go and pull that board down. It's one of those things, I want to do it, but I know that if I pull the board down, people can see the back of the computer, but then there's no one coming in, so it doesn't really matter if anyone sees the back of the computer. And if I don't take it down, I can be guaranteed that someone will walk by it and brush against it while the paint's wet. So it does need to come off the counter while I do it. I do have another board I can put up there as a temporary sort of thing, just to block the back of the computer. I don't want people pulling cords and stuff like that. Again, not that there's anyone coming in, but I do need to think about that sort of thing. So I might go and do that. I might actually just put this board for now over there. And the funny thing is, when I had the shrink wrap openers over there, lots of people saw them, and it must have just been that they are just so much brighter than the earrings, even though they're on a whiteboard, and everyone sees the shrink wrap openers there. They just don't see the earrings, probably because they're just being drawn around this bend and into the shop. But hopefully if I get that painted, that might change things. So that is my next job for the day. Is looking so much better. When you come up through the door, it's obvious that there is something there to have a look at. Those white cards really do jump from off of the grey background. The earrings still don't really jump off the cards, so I probably will have to have a look at something with the cards just to make them a little bit more brighter, a little bit more noticeable. The other thing I did do is made a bigger sign to go on the earring board. I do think The previous one I had was probably a little bit too small, so I just made it a bit bigger. I do have plenty of room to put some more. I do have some more blank earrings at home, so I'll have to sit down and think of a few more designs to go on them, get them printed and then made up and brought down here. The back of the board is a little bit questionable because of all the holes that are in it. The paint was, as I was painting it, coming through all the holes, and it was just forming great big globs of paint. So I knew it wasn't going to dry very quickly, so I kind of just got my brush and swished all over the place. And you know what? If that was an actual artist, someone would pay thousands of dollars for a board that was all swished all over. Yeah, because it's me, it's probably only worth $1. And wouldn't you know it, because I had that board down and I had all the back of the computer exposed, I had a customer come in, which is great, absolutely great. But yeah, it was like, oops, you can see all the cables and everything to the back of the computer there. I did try and put the little shrink wrap opener board on there, but because of the way that you put the clamps on the bottom, the ones that have got my shrink wrap openers, the space isn't very deep because they go on a much narrower shelf than what is over there. And I couldn't be bothered to undo the whole lot just to put it up there for a couple of hours. So I just didn't bother and just took the risk that no one would come in, and then somebody did, which I am not complaining about at all. I just said to him, excuse the mess. Just painting the board, and please don't touch the board, it's wet paint. So she could see how I was working on it. Luckily it did dry really quickly, but while I was waiting for it to dry, I got onto the IKEA website because I use a lot of the IVAR system, IVAR. That's all my shelving and everything, and I love it because it's so versatile. Like you can swap how high you want the legs, you can move the shelving around, there's so much you can actually do with the system. That's what I use for doing my displays with. But it is also very difficult to get your hands on at IKEA. Sometimes it does sell out really quick, and I jumped on there and I saw, it sounds like a lot, there were 84 of the size legs that I wanted, but I want 4 and other people will want more, so that 84 would not last very long. So I actually went and placed my order for them, and I got 2 extra shelves because my idea is there's enough shelves there to put the stock on, but because of how high they're going to be, I won't be putting stock on the very top shelf, but I still need a shelf to finish the unit off. So I did order 2 extra shelves as well, and I've put down that I'll be collecting those on Sunday afternoon when I come back from my parents'. It has just gone, it's almost 1:30 now. I've had my lunch and everything. I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the afternoon, I have got all of these soap boxes which are prepared for some of the soaps that are sitting on the cure rack. But what does need to be done with these, like I did with the everyday soap bars, I need to replace the address on the bottom of them. So I'm going to be doing that. These I actually do need to order very soon because I've run out of the little bit extra decorative boxes, and I think I've only got enough for 4 more batches of the limited edition. Still got plenty of the decorative ones left because I actually ordered a lot more of those, but I don't seem to have made as many decorative ones lately. So I do need to order some more of these, but for now, I think for the rest of the afternoon, so that I'm not sitting on the computer all day, I am just gonna go and stick some stickers on the back of these. I only have an hour and a half until I get to go home and then go for the Christmas dinner for my husband's workplace. I don't think I mentioned it earlier. If I did, sorry. I am actually closing up at 3 o'clock today. Hubby messaged me 2 days ago, I think it was, and he said, do you want to come to the Christmas work function? And it's like, well, that's rather late, but yeah, we can go. Like so many workplaces I've been at, they actually do their Christmas party after Christmas because there's so much leading up to Christmas, you can't do it. So theirs is apparently tonight, and they're allowed to take partners, which is really nice because so many workplaces, especially in the hospitality industry, don't let you take partners to Christmas do's. So quite often we don't go because if we can't both go, we don't go. So not that we don't let each other go, but we just like to meet each other's workmates and stuff like that. So it'll be nice tonight to go along and go and meet some of these people that he keeps talking about. Really looking forward to it. We have to be in town, I think, by about 5:30, and I know the traffic's bad. So I'll leave at 3, go and get ready, and then we'll come back over, and we don't have to stress about getting in on time if we've got enough time. So that's going to be the plan. And I can guarantee you someone will try walking through the door at 3 o'clock because I'm going home early. But if they do, I'll stay open. All right, I'm going to go get some more of these stickers printed up and go and put that spoon away again and get on to doing these. So as you can see, we're down the shop and I am actually feeling really good today, feeling really energized. I must apologize that this vlog has been a lot of whinging and a lot more sort of down and out stories. It really has been really tough. We had visions when we came down here about how good it was going to be for the business to be here in Caloundra, and it has almost been like I have gone from a business that was well established right back down to the bottom again, and I'm trying to claw my way back up that ladder to get back to where I was. And it doesn't help that the economy is so bad at the moment either. And with the PCOS, I've got one of the sort of things that you can suffer from it is depression, and I have to fight so hard to keep pulling myself up and out of that pit, and knowing that it's going to be okay. So I do apologize if this vlog has been a little bit down and out and just full of whinging. I will try so hard on the March vlog not to do that. But as I said, I am feeling a lot more confident, a lot more happier. I have visions in my head of what I want to be doing. I've just written a whole heap of them down in my planner here, which I hope to do. One of the things I was thinking about on the drive in this morning was I thought, right, it's March next month. What am I going to do? And I went, March Madness. Let's have some super crazy sales throughout the month of March. So some of my sales will probably maybe daily, some maybe for a week, and some of them, like some will be so heavily discounted that it'll only be for a day. So I do have plans one day to maybe put the lip balms, instead of being $5, maybe making them $3. So I don't want that to last a whole week, but there'll be things like that. So I will be making sure I post all the different sales, but I've got a few different things written down here that I can actually do for March Madness sales, and hopefully get a few more of those sales coming in. So that's there, and I've got a few other ideas running through my head. Last night we did go to hubby's work Christmas function, and I was so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed by it all. So if you don't know, hubby works at the Crocodile Hunter Lodge, which is the accommodation side of Australia Zoo. And he talks about all the people that he works with and things. And he said there's about 15 or so of them that between reception and the housekeeping area. And that doesn't include who's in the restaurant, I don't think. So here's me thinking, we're going to have the lodge people there at this do. We got to this do, it was at the Caloundra RSL Function Centre, which I have been to before, so I know how big some of the function rooms are, how they divide and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, we'll have just a bit of a function room in there. The music was super loud when we first got there. Like, it was really loud, to the point that my ears were ringing and I was starting to feel sick from the vibrations going through me. So I was actually standing outside the room with hubby, and he'd actually gone and had a quick peek in to see if he could see anyone, and he found some of the people he worked with, and we were all standing outside this room. And hubby said, have you actually looked inside the function room? And I went, no. And he says, go and have a look. And I walked through this door and my jaw must have just dropped to the floor. It was like, oh my God, look at all these people that are going to be here. Like the room was relatively empty. And I come back out, I said, how many people are going to be here? And he said, well, they employ more than 600 people. I was like, oh my God, look at the size of this function space. And not only were the employees invited, their entire family, like they could invite their partners and kids as well. So people were coming with their partner and 2 or 3 kids and stuff. So it was just packed full of people. It was so overwhelming, but it was such a lovely night. I learned things as well, which I actually didn't know. A lot of the conservation work that gets done that isn't actually talked about as much, which is a real shame, because I think they should actually talk about the conservation work that they're doing behind the scenes. A lot of people just know them for the zoo. So there was the zoo, the hospital, and the lodge, and then all the volunteers that do all the research work and all that sort of stuff as well. They were all there at this function, and I didn't realise they did so much work behind the scenes that is not a part of the zoo and the hospital and stuff like that. There's a lot that goes on, and it was quite interesting to listen to. So yeah, it was a really nice night, and I've actually said to hubby I'd actually like to go back to the RSL to have dinner there one night, because the function food, oh my goodness, it is the best function buffet food I have ever had. And I've worked in some really nice hotels that do functions, and I can tell you the function food there just beat anything I've had anywhere. So I said, if that's what their function food is like, I want to go in the RSL and actually have a meal in there, because I bet the food is amazing. So it was a really, really good night, and it was so good to meet some of the people, a few of the people that hubby does work with. It was one of those things, like there are so many people there that people don't really know each other. Like the people that work in the lodge kept to themselves, and then you've got the people at the hospital keep to themselves and that sort of thing. But it was nice to meet some of the ones that he does work with closely. So it was a good night. I did come home with a thumping headache because of how loud the music was, but it was so good. I said to hubby this morning when we were having our breakfast, one of the nicest things about the function yesterday, there were quite a number of children there. They had face painting and balloon animals for the kids. I said one of the nicest things was I was looking around, and not a single one of the kids that I saw was on a mobile device. They were all up and dancing and playing and getting their balloons and their face painted. None of them were sitting on mobile devices. It didn't matter how old they were all having a really good time. So it was so nice to see. But that's it. I've got my ideas there. What I am going to do next is actually make up some of this titanium dioxide. I do get asked a lot of questions about titanium dioxides, especially from the newer soap makers, how to stop glycerin rivers in their titanium dioxide and that sort of thing. I remember asking this question, well, I didn't ask the question, I remember researching the question when I first started out soap making, and I used to get so frustrated because the general answer used to be that the more experience that you gain in soap making, the more you make it, the more confident you become, the less likely you are going to get glycerin rivers. And I used to think, why will no one actually share information about how to stop these glycerin rivers? And what I have learned now, almost 10 years on from making my first soaps, is that's the answer. The more you do them, the more confident you become, the more you get to learn the processes, and the more advanced you become, the less likely your glycerin rivers are going to actually show up. So really, there's lots of theories on why they show up. There's lots of theories on how to stop them and all sorts of things. But I think a lot of it does come down to your recipe, to how you soap, temperatures you set. There's so many variables that that can cause these glycerin rivers. And even now, 10 years on, I still get the odd soap that has glycerin rivers in. I was thinking on my way in the car this morning, I should actually do a full video upon making titanium dioxide up to go in your soaps, because a lot of people ask me about that as well. So I will actually do a full video on that and also discuss a few of the other myths that are out there about titanium dioxide. But one I will share now, one of the things I discovered for me personally, whether this works for everyone or not, I don't know, but for me personally, I found the fresher my titanium mix is, the more chance there is for me to get glycerin rivers in my soap. So what I like to do is make my my titanium dioxide up and then leave it for a number of days to actually sit, meld together and do whatever it wants to do in its little container. And sometimes this might be a week before I actually come back to it and use it. And I found that doing that, I'm less likely to get those glycerin rivers. If I make it up and use it in the soap that day, chances are I will probably get glycerin rivers in my soap. So I actually had to order that shea butter in because I had none to fill my tank, so the tank's actually empty. I can't make soaps till next week, so what I'm going to do is go and make up my titanium dioxide now, and then next week I will fill the soap tank up and I will make a couple of soaps next week. I have a couple of ideas for some more soaps in my Clay Tanicles range, so I'm going to get those made up next week. And by the time, well, titanium dioxide's not going to go into it because I think people will get upset. It's natural, but I think people will get upset if it's in the soap. We'll see. But I am going to make that up. So next week when it does come time to making some soaps, this should be all nice and, you know, blended together, ready to go in soaps with less chance of that glycerin. But as I said, I will do a full video on making titanium dioxide up, or how I make my titanium dioxide up, and see if that actually helps anyone else with their processes. But I'm going to go and get this made up. And it is time for me to go home. It's starting to really quieten down out there, so 2 o'clock is definitely the right time to close on a Saturday, I think. I made up my titanium dioxide. The footage looks a bit funny because I figured, you know what, you're gonna make a video about it, let's just do it now. No one's coming in the shop. We could actually record the video and know it will be fine because it's more of a talking video. So I actually made that up, made the video. It won't be out within the next 2 weeks or something because I've got other videos that need to come out before that, but it will come out within the next sort of month. So I did do that up, and then I pretty much had nothing else to do. So I sat at the computer. As I mentioned, I was given some fabric by one of my mum's friends, and one of the pieces that are in there really lends itself to a nice pair of layabout trousers, I would say. Like, she probably intended to make a really nice pair of dress slacks, but for me, I'm thinking a nice pair of, you know, elasticated waist pants with nice flared bottoms that I can just lounge around the house with. But I don't actually have any patterns like that, and I do have a pair of pants that I could probably undo or take a pattern off, but it's been so long, as I said in my previous vlog, that of doing stuff like this, I think I'd much rather just go and get a pattern and alter the pattern and make myself a pair of these pants. So I was sitting at the computer and I was going through Spotlight and looking at all the different patterns there. They've got a special for $25. So I was trying to find some other patterns while there. I've seen a few I like. And while I was doing that, I was also playing the Half Moon phase game thing that comes out once every month. And I was sitting there, you know, playing away, looking at all these patterns. Like, oh, there's things I need to be doing. it suddenly dawned on me. One of the things I had to do was make up a new opening hours list. I probably actually didn't really need to do it today. It could have waited until Wednesday, but I figured it's done. So I've actually changed my old one, which said I was closed on Sunday, Monday. This one now closed on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to Fridays 9 till 4, Saturday, Sunday is 9 till 2, which I think are going to be good hours, hopefully. But I can't actually put this in the window at the moment. Tomorrow is Sunday and I am not opening. For starters, I have actually planned to go down, as I said, to visit my parents, have some breakfast. There's a place down there I need to go to pick up some supplies. They are actually open on a Sunday, so I need to go and pick those supplies up from them. So I'm not going to be able to come in and open the shop, and it's like an hour and a half down the street, so I'm not going to come into the shop and then go down and come back. That is a massive day, so I am still going to stay closed on Sunday. And besides which, I've done my 5 days. I'm not doing a 6 days sitting in the shop trying to, find stuff to do. I'm pretty achy from being in the air conditioning and things like that. So definitely going to have Sunday off. When I come in on Wednesday, I can pop that in. And then I remembered I also needed to change the air conditioning unit so that it doesn't come on Tuesday and run when I'm not in the shop. So I had to go in and turn it off on Tuesday. Can't set Sundays yet because, again, I'm not in the shop tomorrow, so I'm not going to have the air conditioning running while I'm not in the shop. So when I come in on Wednesday, which reminds me, let's write it down. So we'll say aircon timer for Sunday. On Wednesday when I come in, I will then set the hours in the weekly timer for Sunday so that basically the air conditioning just comes on and goes off when it is meant to, and I don't have to worry about extortionate electricity bills, because this month's electricity bill was eye-watering, we shall say. And I'm actually going to watch it because ever since I've been in the shop, every month my electricity's gone up by $20 to $30. And I don't understand why. So I was initially told to leave the fluoros on in the shop when I'm not here so people can see in, that it makes a difference and that sort of stuff. And some people do come in and say they were walking down the street and saw me at night and then came in a couple of days later. But I think it's really, really pushing my electricity bill up to have them on 24/7. And last night when hubby and I actually drove up and down the street, one of the things I was looking at was how many of the shops do leave their lights on overnight. Some do, some don't. So I'm going to go with the some don't. And if my electricity bill does not drop next month, I'm going to call them and say, who's using my electricity, because it's not me. So we'll see what happens there. I am going to head off home. I think what I'm going to do this afternoon, I really need to get out in the fresh air. The air conditioning does drive me batty. A lot of people were mentioning about when I said I had a headache last month, and I don't call them migraines. They're not migraines. They are tension headaches, and a lot of it comes from the air conditioning because they're worse in summer than they are in spring and autumn. Winter they get bad because it's cold all over, but generally it's from sitting in the air conditioning. And last month when I had that headache, we'd had a really, really hot week. I was getting home at 5 o'clock at night and it was still 38 degrees. So we were having the air conditioning on at home. So I was basically in air conditioning almost 24 hours a day. And that constant cold just gets all the inflammation going in the back of my neck, which then makes these headaches. And it takes days for it just to go back down. But they are not migraines that I am getting. But thank you to everyone who wrote with suggestions on what to use for them. I do have to be careful though, because I do react to medications, usually develop the more rarer side effects from them. So I have to be very careful with strong medications. But I did note them all down, and I'm going to actually talk to a GP about them, see what they might recommend as well. But enough about that. I'm going to head home. As I said, I need to go and spend some time outside. I'm going to head home and go and fill the back of my car up with all of that green waste that I took out, all the green stuff I took out of the garden. I'm going to fill that up into the back of the car, put whatever else I can find into it, and I'm actually going to run that round to the tip because they're open until 5 o'clock. So that is my plan for this afternoon. Get out there in the fresh air, do a bit of work and kind of release that tension from the back of my shoulders. I hope you have enjoyed coming along this month, even though it has been a lot of whinging and complaining, but I hope you have come along, you've been able to pick up a couple of tips. And also, if you are running your own small business, I hope that you can actually see that not everyone is, you know, selling hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Not everyone is, you know, making stock constantly. You only see so much on social media. You're not seeing what's going on behind the scenes, and sometimes we are doing it so much tougher, and very few people will actually admit just how tough they're actually doing it at this stage. So if that is you, that you are doing it tough, as I've said before, just hang on in there. Here in Australia, if you missed it, they have just dropped the cash rate a little bit, which is going to help with spending. I know some people don't agree with it. I know my husband doesn't agree with it, but I've said to him, I need those drops in that rate, because without it, people don't spend money with me. It's catch-22. What do you want to happen? Do you want more money on your savings, or do you want me to earn a bit of extra money? So it is going to get better. It is. It's just going to be a bit of a long haul to get there, but just hang on in there and keep smiling, because otherwise you cry. Anyhow, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.